because being perfect is kind of, it's one of those mental health things that I'm working with my therapist on because, there's yeah, there's a whole psychology issue that I'm dealing with on the side too, with childhood trauma. But and that strive to be perfect, and that's one of the things that I never would have thought of pottery helping with, but it is really helping me let go of some of that. I've been convinced through my by my classmates and teacher and other people. Like there've been a few pieces where I was working on it and I was being the perfectionist, and I do often because have a little bit of perfectionist tendencies, and anybody that's knows me is probably going to laugh at that because it's probably more than a little. But um, where like I have a bowl that I was making, and um, in the class, and our assignment was basically to push your envelope, and it was throw a bowl with more clay than you're used to do than you're comfortable with, like just push your, and it wasn't, he didn't give us a set amount, it was just if you're comfortable throwing with half a pound of clay, try throwing with a pound of clay. um, and I was trying to throw because I was pretty comfortable around uh, 2 pounds, and I was trying to throw. I was comfortable like between I don't know, two and anyway. I was trying to throw with like 3 or 4 pounds of clay, and I had this bowl that I was just. It was collapsing. Like it was. I had gotten it, and I was loving the shape, and then all of a sudden it started like sinking. Like the edges started sinking, and I was so frustrated. And I was trying to save it, and I finally like I took it off the wheel and I put it in the other room in a drying room, and like put some newspaper around the edges of it because I was like minutes from throwing it across the room. I was like really frustrated, and I had been trying to be super perfectionist, and I basically what I told it, I put it in timeout for its own protection. Put it in the other room and just sort of, and when I went back to it, I made some comment under my breath about, I don't know, maybe I'm just going to throw this, toss it or whatever. And my professor happened to overhear me, and he's like, why can't you just use it? You know, why can't you just make it what it is? Make the, um, the like undulations, or make it look intentional. Like just lean into it instead of trying to fight against it, lean into the imperfection of the bowl. So I fought with it a little bit on the trimming part, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna have it fired, and then see what I, and I ended up like really liking it, and it ended up being like one of my mom's favorite pieces that I had done. So I gave it to her. But it was a learning process too. It was also that, okay, I'm gonna accept that this is not perfect, and I'm gonna be okay with that. We had a project that we did that, um, we did a narrative piece, a narrative sculptural piece, and we had some parameters, but it was basically a piece that we were telling a story with. It's like it can be a vessel that you are carving things on, or it can be like a specific shape, like it's totally up to you. And a lot of um and he wanted it to kind of touch something personal, and I tried to do, I got in my head and I wanted to do a piece about grief, and I and kind of how grief feels. Like it's not, it it can be literally physically painful, and like I was trying to express that, and I tried to keep myself a little distant from it and just do kind of a generic how grief feels. And my professor, I was like, it was almost like he was talking to my therapist behind the scenes, but whatever. I ended up making um, an urn shape, but also then a weight that, and it actually, after I made it, I realized it even had bigger connotations, like it must have been my subconscious or something, because that weight can go on top of the urn, it can go next to it. It's sometimes it's crushing it, and sometimes it's just sitting next to it, and I did, like, on the weight I had put the I didn't want it to just be an empty. I think I made like a kettlebell kind of weight, and I wanted to, like, I ended up putting, like, translating the amount of time that we had been together and putting that as the weight. I had another classmate who did something with a weight like the next semester, and they had put the weight of the world on it, like the math formula for the weight of the world. I was like, oh my God, that's a brilliant idea. I love that. And but then on the urn, I made it a closed form, so it's not like a realistic, like I could use it. Um, so I have it kind of sitting next to him on my on my shelf, but it's on one side has um, he was a computer programmer, and so I translated his name into ASCII binary code. In my lifetime, art has kind of become, I think it's swinging back the other way, but art had become a whim and a fancy. And if you were an artist, you were out dancing naked in the rain and you were like a moonchild. And not that there's anything wrong with that. Right, exactly. But that's what, like, and that's what normal people saw an artist as. We're really, I think everybody has some sort of artistic, um, everybody should be able to access that part of themselves. Nobody should feel like they have to, I am, have that mentality that I'm married and I have kids, so I have to support my family, and I don't have time to be frivolous. And I think, like, stopping the thought process that art is frivolous is, I think, important for the younger generation. It's like the powers that be decided that creativity wasn't important. And whether it be music or theater or art or dance, or like that, we need to teach our kids math and science and sports. And if it's not math or science or sports, it's, or, how to type on a computer, because, computers weren't just coming into like, the typing class I took was on a typewriter. Let me just say. I'm older than I look. But it, like, teaching somebody those kinds of things are important, but not, our kids don't need to be creative, is what it was like, that became the prevailing thought when I was in the corporate world and stuff. It was, art wasn't something that was a part of my life, except for I'm going to go off for the weekend and play with my friends. Like it wasn't integrated into my life. It was something I do when I have time, and something I do when I can blow off some steam. And so it was very compartmentalized. And I'm kind of starting to take down those compartmental walls. And I think that's important. And yeah, without it, I probably wouldn't be here. So I'm starting to kind of now in my 50s, starting to sort of bring that side of myself into it's no longer a separate side of myself that I do when I have time on the weekends or like for a few months a year or for a few weeks a year on the weekends. It's bringing exploring my creative self, I guess, more fully. And it really has been, I mean, there's still a lot of stuff I'm struggling with my mental health, but it does help me work through it. And I find myself missing it when I'm not. I mean, that's how I found the monastery, was that I had been here for several weeks helping my parents, and I was like, I need to have my hands in clay again. And so it was the perfect way for me to just sit in front of a wheel and get my hands on some clay. And I found myself really like jonesing for it, like almost like a drug. I'm like, I need to do something.